Hi, I'm Nicola Russell and this is Korbyn Carleton, and today Korbyn is starting the long process of creating a portrait sculpture of me.
Do you need my hair up? We can do it down. Do you want to go do wedging stuff first? Oh yeah.
The process took a total of 5 months to complete, including the sculpting, hollowing out, finishing, firing, painting, and waxing processes. I had no idea how this was going to turn out. I just knew I wanted to film it and make this video. But let's start with day 1. We are in the basement of the New York Academy of Art, and Korbyn is preparing the clay, compacting it and kneading it so that it has as little air stuck within it as possible. Compressing the clay like this increases the integrity of the sculpture and helps with the plasticity of the clay, giving it strength by creating tighter particles of clay. Using the ancient technique of whacking it, she creates the basic shape into something that somewhat resembles a human.
Wow, it looks just like me.
The sculpture is now underway. With a kitchen knife, she draws what she sees, almost like taking notes, and then slicing the clay into shape, starting with the larger shapes that make up the figure before moving on to the smaller ones. Any kind of detail work is a long, long way off. This piece of wood is one of her main tools at this point, along with her knife. She called it a hit stick, and apparently it can be anything with a flat side and some weight to it, so a 2x4 would also be a good choice for any sculptor to have in their toolkit. She's jamming this wooden stick into my head because the clay is both soft and heavy. It wants to sag. This is water-based clay, and when it has more water in it, the clay is softer and more malleable. As it dries out, the clay hardens. The stick will help give the clay a little backbone until it hardens enough to keep itself up. The technique Korbyn uses to sculpt is based on contour. Keeping her view of me, the model, and the sculpture aligned, she mimics the outline she sees in me into the sculpture, turning us both as she goes until the edges and profiles of me and the sculpture match up.
Okay, I'm gonna turn this, and I'm gonna turn you.
It's sculpture based on observation and following the silhouettes. This will be a ceramic sculpture, so the clay she is starting with now will be the material that is the finished piece. It won't be casted into something stronger like bronze or plastic. Instead, the sculpture will be hollowed out and then fired in a kiln. She then plans to paint it to look as lifelike as possible and hopefully resemble me. Before she was a sculptor, Korbyn worked as a makeup effects artist. She changed careers and applied to the New York Academy of Art, taking their certificate program and then their master's program. Her previous career helped her to get to know the human form and influenced her interest in essentially spending time up close and personal with people's faces. But if you want to know her secret backstory, she was a singer, did musical theater, performed at bars, and at 17 won a contest for undiscovered musicians where she was handpicked by John Legend to open for him. During that performance, she was struck by enormous stage fright, mentally blacked out, completed the performance but doesn't remember a thing from it, and from then on experienced debilitating stage fright and was forced to change passions. But here she is now, sculpting. Anyway, I digress. Like I was saying before, this is only the beginning to a very long process, and I wasn't going to be able to model for her every time she worked on the sculpture. Actually, this would be the first and last time I modeled at all for the portrait. With the basic sketch of my face in place, Korbyn took 1,000,000 photos of me on her phone to work from. Unlike painting, where you can take one photo and use it as a reference, sculpture is 3D, right? So she needed to take a photo of me from every angle to be able to reference all those angles as she continues to work on the sculpture. She's adding a little more water to the bust to keep it moist, and then we'll lock it in place with a plastic bag. You want your clay soft at the beginning to be able to make big adjustments, but that means it will sag more. You may have noticed the second stick that had been placed under the chin to keep the tilt of the head she's chosen in place. As she progresses, she'll let the clay dry out a little bit and harden in place. But for today, that concludes day 1.
Yay!
Over the next few weeks, I would check in on Korbyn to film a little bit of the process here and there. Working from the photos, she advances the sculpture bit by bit. See how she's matching up the sculpture to be in the same position as what she's seen in the photo? She's still using the same technique that she started with, even though it's from a photo now. Observing the silhouettes on the model and copying them onto the sculpture, going carefully until things slowly match up. It's an incredibly careful process. She's also still working on the bigger shapes, but slowly working towards smaller details and movements in the form. You can see it coming along, a little more human looking, a little less alien, and a little bit more like me. It's been 5 weeks since the beginning of the sculpture, and Korbyn has decided it's time to hollow it out. What is hollowing out, you ask? Well, clay is heavy and there's no reason this needs to remain solid clay. Hollowing out is the process of gutting it. She begins with brain surgery, slicing off the back of the skull with a wire cutter so she can access the guts. With the back of the head removed, she then begins to scoop out the clay on the inside, so only about half an inch of a wall is left. This part is so satisfying, so I'm just gonna let a few clips play and let you get a good look at the process.
That's beautiful. You don't want it so thick. Adding more stress.
Here she's bunching up the scrap clay together to use as a little pillow. She doesn't want to flatten any work she's made by laying it on the table, so to cushion the sculpture and do the least amount of damage to it, she creates this little pillow. She then is going to repeat the same process on the torso, hollowing it out. If you were paying attention, you will remember this stick. Now is the time to take it out because you do not want it in there later on when the sculpture goes into the kiln. And here Korbyn is struggling to retrieve her tool, which she's gone and broken inside of there.
Got it. These break all the time.
I love how delicate you are with the tools. The hollowing out goes all the way through the sculpture, even making a tunnel in the neck like a little esophagus. Okay, the sculpture has sufficiently been gutted, but not so much as to threaten its integrity, only just enough to lighten it and also reclaim all this clay. Clay is not free, you know, and all this she just scooped out can be used again. A good thing about water-based clay like this is even the dust and parts that have dried out can be rehydrated and reused.
Oh no. Nobody needs to know. Okay.
It's time to stitch back on the back of my head. Instead of just smushing it back on, she scores the clay that will be pressed together and then wets it. I will try to explain this as she explained it to me. Let me know if it doesn't make sense. Clay has a memory and a mind of its own. So when, for example, you're putting fresh clay over older clay that's a little more dry, you have to convince them to join together. In this case, she had to convince these severed halves they wanted to be one again. The scored and wet clay meeting the other scored and wet clay will bind. The pressure she's applying helps it lock into place and the clay is rejoined. Lastly, she smooths it out with her fingers and the sculpture is put back together again ready to be pushed into its final stages. The next time I got to see the sculpture again, I met with Korbyn in her home studio where she lives with her partner, 2 cats, and her dog. Okay, so it's dried out under there?
Well, it's not dry yet, but it's hollow. And it will dry out.
Oh yeah, it's still kind of wet.
So when I'm finished and I have it drying, I'll raise it up so that air can get in underneath and help with the drying process.
And then once it's dry, you put it in the kiln?
Yeah.
Cool.
And it'll be fired, like this one. So like, this is patched underneath, but this is...
And then after the kiln is when you paint it?
Yes.
Cool.
Like, line things up. I'm gonna use my knife.
All these photos.
So many.
The portrait has been worked on a lot. What she is up to now is getting the hair right, putting on final details, and beginning the finishing work. We also would discuss here today how composition works for a 3D work of art. And so what are you thinking about when you're trying to finish? You're getting like close to finish.
Well, I'm looking at the larger forms to make sure that I'm like happy with the overall composition. Like the smaller compositions that are in the hair and how that like interacts with.
What do you mean compositions? Because as a painter, I like compositions happen on a 2D plane.
Well, I mean,
what do you mean?
In sculpture, you're looking at like your one view is 2D. It only becomes 3D when you look at it from all the different perspectives.
It's essentially just a million compositions.
Basically, yeah.
Show me a compositional choice you did here.
Well, so even just like the swoop of the hair, right? And with the tilt of the head, that's one. But then you move to this view and you have to make sure that that makes sense with everything else that's going on, finding those curves.
Okay. And so you want things to kind of lead into each other?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's great to like look at things from above and below and like all over the place because it's like having a million tiny canvases all over the place.
A million tiny canvases. Yeah.
If I don't move around and I'm only doing it from one view, then I will do something where I like had a whole part of your skull missing.
No. You're not gonna do these earrings?
Nope. Sorry.
No. After adding a little more clay here and there, she was ready to pull out the rake. This metal tool with teeth along its side comes in different shapes, sizes, and variety of teeth. You can use it to sculpt, but you can also use it to add a unifying texture to the clay surface. Once it's all raked over like this, it will have a nice finished kind of look to it. But sculptors also use all sorts of interesting tools. It always reminds me of the dentist.
I do use dental tools sometimes. Over here.
Where do you buy these? Amazon? Nice.
Some of them are missing because they're actually in the bathroom used for...
Oh, for actual dental needs.
Yes.
Nice. Once she'd gone over the hair, getting a first unifying layer of the rake texture, she added in the hair clip. And she created this clip by just rolling out some clay, draping it in place, and then sculpting it into place, as well as going over it with some water and a brush.
I'm just kind of, it's just water. Water and a brush. And I'm just gonna kind of sculpt with the brush a little bit, just to get this.
So it's for the water or for the texture?
Yes. It's kind of just like, so that this isn't just on top, it's like with the form. So I'm like sculpting with the brush a little bit.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Going through my jeans.
Hi, baby. Hi. You're pretty. You're pretty. Look at that butt.
The sculpture is creeping towards the finish line. She'll now go over the skin of the torso with a different rake. It's typical to start with a wider, bigger rake before moving to the smaller ones, unifying all this surface of the clay as well.
We're getting there.
She's cute.
She's
I'm
cute.
so excited for the painting part.
Me too.
So it's almost done.
Almost done. Just have to fix up the.
Yeah, so what's left? Give me the to-do list.
Yeah, pretty much just fixing up the body part. Some anatomical stuff. but
Crevice
then-
here.
Yeah.
Look at those collarbones. Wow.
You have some sharp collarbones.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then
What else?
yeah, that's pretty much it.
Is the hair done today?
I think the hair's done. I'm happy with it.
Love the clip. Favorite part.
I might bring down the texture just a little bit, but maybe just in the face because I like it in the hair.
To bring down the texture in the face, she pulled out her water and brush again, using them to soften it down. Just one more peck. Just really softening it so gently. I think you should do my ear cuff.
I know, but
You did the clip? You could do
I
the
did
cuff?
do the clip. Maybe I should do the ear cuff.
A brush is a great finishing tool for a portrait in clay because it is able to ever so gently add a soft, unifying, skin-like texture. The next time I saw little me and Korbyn again, we met back at the academy. The sculpture is completely finished and ready to be fired. Wait, show me her. Can I like see the inside? And it's like
Yeah, it's still like
very.
if I dropped it, it would shatter.
So it's super dry.
Super dry and brittle.
What is the kiln gonna do?
Kiln. So it's going through a bisque firing, so it's not going to be completely vitrified. Bisque firing is basically getting all of the moisture out and the particles of the clay tighter together. There's still a little bit of like air in between. Good all the rest of your order.
Here is the kiln, and she's placing it in there, but I just had her do that for show. The kiln takes a lot of power to operate.
And it's obviously most ideal if this is completely filled. So
How much power does this take?
this one a lot.
How hot does it get?
1875 Fahrenheit.
These are the user settings programmed into the machine she's using. It starts at 0 degrees, ramps up to 200, holds for 6 hours, then continues to ramp up, hold until it hits 1,875 degrees. That is higher than the melting point for bronze, so it's hot, and maybe you understand better now why she needed to get that wooden stick out of there. And here she is closing it down again just for show. It's gonna get filled up with a bunch of stuff, but the sculpture will stay in there for 3 days, cool for 1 day, and be complete. The next time I saw it, it was back at her studio again, getting prepared for the painting process. That is going to be part 2, so check out that video next. It's been an amazing experience documenting Korbyn's process so closely like this. I hope you enjoyed following along with me. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment of what you thought or of any questions you have for Korbyn, and please go follow her on Instagram, which is linked on the caption. Thank you so much for watching. See you in part 2.